you have to decide what you are going to do. And I will attach in the announcement some samples of work that how the questionnaire was prepared on energy technology based on social acceptance research or something like that, so that you'll get a basic idea that how a questionnaire is developed or how a questionnaire is prepared and what kind of answers you need to seek. For instance, say for example, or for instance, I would say that you are doing research on biofuels. So what is the public acceptance or social acceptance of biofuels in our community? Since people in our country, they are not much aware about what is biofuel. Maybe some of the engineering students and the teachers are well aware about biofuels. And if you want to study that what is the prospect of biofuels or what would be the social acceptance of biofuels in our country, or among elite people who wants to change their vehicle and in terms of the fuel they're using in their vehicles. So what is the prospect of biofuel? Then you can do a research on biofuel. Then you have to make some kind of questionnaire in a social, if you are in a social science background or doing some kind of research, acceptance research. Likewise, if you want to do a research on, say for instance, not biofuels, say for instance, some kind of energy technology, then you have to do also that kind of prepare some kind of questionnaire. But before that, you need to have some kind of objectives and research topic, that what's the area. Then you have to choose the topic. Then you have to find out 2 or 3 or as many you like, but you have to be very careful that the number of objectives increasing, the load of work is also increasing. So be careful, be specific, make your objective very simple, and maybe 1 or 2 or 3. Then you prepare a questionnaire based on these research objectives and equally distribute the questions. Say, for instance, you have 2 or 3 objectives that you want to see in your research. Say, for example, you want to see what is the acceptance. Then what are the acceptance areas? What is the socio-political acceptance? Let me record this one because I'm telling you, maybe you're going to miss it. So now it's recording. So what is the socio-political acceptance? Socio-political acceptance means acceptance from the authority, acceptance from the general people, or commonsensical use and legal matters. So if it is, say, a battery rickshaw or some other kind of vehicle or any other energy technology, then what are the rules and regulations? Do the government existing authorities support this kind of vehicle? If not, you can see them in the roads or in the streets. So in some manner, they are getting this kind of permission, maybe by the political parties, maybe by the political leaders, or maybe by the musclemen who are dealing with the political parties or the law enforcement authorities. Because you know that battery rickshaw was not a license. They did not get any kind of a legal license from the BRTA, right? But they somehow managed this kind of license, fabricated license, with the help of their leaders and some political parties leaders. So they got this kind of permissions, right? So that means it has some kind of legal basis. I would say that. Otherwise, you wouldn't find them in the streets. So where's the sociological acceptance? Where's the public acceptance, right? How people see it. Then sociological acceptance, then community acceptance. Community acceptance means in your locality, where you are going to study. So how the people accept it, why they want to ride in a battery rickshaw. because they will give different kind of information, and you have to find out this kind of information. They would say that it's the quickest way. It can walk through the narrow roads, and so it's quite feasible, and the price is not so high, so it's quite good. They would say something like that. Then you can also ask some experts, and some people will say that there's different kind of problems. What are the problems? Maybe there are accidents. They cannot control the speed, blah blah blah, and there are traffic problems. The local mustn't take bribes from them, and so on and so forth. Later on, the other part that I am talking about, the market acceptance. Does this kind of vehicle have any kind of market acceptance? Or does this kind of technology have any kind of market acceptance? Market acceptance means that if a technology, let me admit, many of you friends, I would say classmates, yeah. So I was talking about the market acceptance. So what's the price of that kind of vehicle and how it is operated? Are the pullers of this kind of vehicle purchasing this kind of vehicle, or they are lending this kind of, or taking this kind of vehicle from a owner, and in return they are paying some kind of money regularly, so you have to know this kind of things. And what's the price? Say for example, a battery rickshaw costs like 80,000 or like 1 lakh BDT. So you came to know, and versus feasibility, blah blah blah, and how people pay for it, or what's the price or vehicle. So you find this kind of things. What is social acceptance? Then what are the socio-political, community, and market acceptance? When you study this kind of thing, it's just simple. Then you will find that what are the key points, key variables that this kind of points mean: socio-political acceptance, community acceptance, market acceptance. So what does it mean? What is socio-political acceptance? What is community acceptance? What is market acceptance? Then you came to know what are the variables that this kind of points mean or reflect. Then based on this kind of variable, you make your question. Then it is very simple. Then you place this question in front of the audience whom you are going to interview. Maybe if it is some kind of thing that is related to your friends and colleagues, then you can do it in the Google Forms. If it's not, then you go to the field, maybe some kind of roads or some places, and interview them. Or if it is related to your solar energy or some kind of renewable energy, and you're in a locality where there's less no grid connections, something like that, then, or there is grid connections, but some of the places where there is not yet, or some of the houses, they don't use this kind of grid connections, then you can do this kind of research. Or you can even do this kind of research to know the people's consciousness. Or you can even do this kind of research to know what's their common tendency or common conception among people about the energy transition. Yes, we are moving from CO2 to a CO2 free or neutral, or some kind of minimizing or decreasing situation, right? And the world is transforming. What is our condition? And what the engineer student thinks about it? So there are a lot of topics. You have to think and you have to do this work, but don't delay it, because if you are delaying it, then it will take time to complete it, right? So be careful and do it. And it's quite simple. So don't be scared. Now let me start my lecture. It's already quite some time already passed, and I would now ask all of you to put your ID and attendance in the chat box. Your time starts now. So do it. You will get 1 minute to do that. And after that, I will collect all the attendance. And I also count the number of students who are present now. And I will also recheck them at the end, whether they were continuing the course. And sometimes also I will try to check it, so that you can consistently do the listening, and I get satisfaction that my students came to know what I supposed to say them. So it's very important that you are present, and it's my responsibility to give my message to you all, what you are supposed to know. So it's my sacred duty. That's why I need to check it all the time. It's for your own good, right? So don't be upset for it. And if anyone come later, then I may make him absent. Then he is absent. It's for his own good, his or her own good. So there is nothing other things as well. So let me copy all that in this. Now 123. Okay, let me share my screen now. Today we are going to have our lecture number 5, and today's lecture is based on the principles of sociology. They're based on the basic concepts of sociology. We know there are a lot of concepts in sociology, and we came to already see that there are many concepts that the sociologists or key pioneers of sociology mentioned. But the topics that are already mentioned in our syllabus, I'll only shed light on those topics and on those key concepts. Since it's not a major course, I will try to shorten the lecture and shorten the concept so that you get all the things done. Anyway, so first of all, I'm going to discuss what is society, right? Let me, yeah. So basic concepts. Society. তোমরা সবাই তো জানো আমরা সোসাইটিতে বসবাস করি, রাইট? এবং এক এক সোসাইটি এক এক রকম হয়ে থাকে। তো হোয়াটস দ্য মিনিং অফ সোশিয়োলজি? এটিমোলজিক্যাল মিনিং বলতে আমরা বুঝিয়েছি প্রথম ক্লাস থেকে বলে আসছি যে এটিমোলজি মিনিং উৎপত্তিগত অর্থ, অর্থাৎ শব্দটি কিভাবে উৎপত্তি ঘটেছে। Society came from societas, Latin word, which originally came from the Greek word socias that we have discussed in the first lecture, meaning living together in a sense that in a society. For living together not means in terms of marriage and relationship, not that kind of relationship, but that some people live in a community or live in some places for the mutual understanding and interactions to fulfill their own needs, right? So in a nutshell, in literal meaning, you would say that this is society, right? You will find that there are different kind of definitions, and this definition, if you read or analyze this definition, you would find that this definition can be categorized in 3 forms. First of all, it could be a functional definition. Secondly, it could be a structural, or thirdly, it could be a dynamic. That's why I mentioned dynamism. So let's discuss the definition given by Richard T. Schaeffer, our text, right? He said that society can be defined as a fairly large number of people who live in the same territory, are relatively independent of people outside it, and participate in common culture. So in this definition, you will find the attributes or the key forms that we have mentioned. See, a fairly large number of people. So you're finding how a society is constructed, right? A large number of people, they live in the same territory. So you came to know the construction. And another basic features, they are independent of outside of it. And now we see the function, participate in common culture, right? So you find 2 forms of characteristics, that is functional and structural. What about the dynamism? Society always changing, right? You have heard about Karl Marx. He said that the history of all hitherto existing societies is the history of class struggle, right? Here you see that he's talking about different kind of societies of the world, and he's making inference that there is class struggle in those societies. Although as he's a conflict theorist, and he has seen the society in terms of conflict situation, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Thesis means something is happening right now, and it is the common standard. But what is antithesis? Something comes and something has come already against or as a counterpart of existing reality or existing norms and values. And as it is going on, then a synthesis is developed, that what is the main standard that has developed based on this counterpart and existing part. It has become the synthesis. So thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Then synthesis become the norms of the societies, and it goes on. And after some times or after a long time, synthesis again become the norm, and norms again contested by the counterparts, which is antithesis, and antithesis again and synthesis jointly produce the synthesis, right? So thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So it is the doctrine given by Karl Marx, German sociologist, philosopher, and he is the proponent of communism and many other thoughts. Although there are many other thinkers, but he has the lowest contribution in this area. Anyway, what are the elements of society? So we say that there are different kind of attributes of the society, elements of society. What about the social solidarity? The term social solidarity was proposed by Emile Durkheim. We have already uttered this name in our first lecture, Emile Durkheim, who has seen the sociology in different aspects, in the sociology of religion, rules of sociological method, and many other areas, right? He says that there would be some kind of solidarity in the society. So solidarity, Bengali means sanghati, somaje sanghati thakbe. He is talking about that. It's not only Emile Durkheim is talking about that. We have said that one of the key pioneers of sociology is Ibn Khaldun. Ibn Khaldun is talking about asabiya. Asabiya is also another type of social solidarity, but it is quite different and it is quite unique, right? So some of you are giving attendance, but I'm not going to take those kind of attendance, right? You have to understand this. So be careful. Anyway, but you are free to attend in my lectures. Most welcome, no problem at all. Because you are already instructed to attend early, in due time. Late attendance is not accepted. Anyway, so there are another feature that is shared identity and culture. Then common language. This kind of people have some kind of common language and they interact with this kind of language. Large population and the ability to sustain and succeed in generations of members. Some people living in that community and they pass their culture to the next generations, to their siblings, to their children, right? Definite geographical area that you came to know, political, economic, and social organizations. Yes, in a society, you will find this kind of organizations. Where you are living. Maybe you are living in Dhaka city in some areas. Then you have your ward council or something like that, some kind of government office. And by these kind of institutions, you are getting the support, right? So you need to know this kind of things. And these are the institutions, social, political, or government organizations that are supporting to run the society. Okay, so in a nationalist society, let's go to the next slide. Yes, community. So community, you know what is community, I think. But let's see what the etymological meaning of community. The word community has been derived from the two Latin words, actually, I would say, com and munus. The English word com comes from together, meaning together. It means to serve. That means to serve together. Community is a kind of group of people who live together to serve each other. It's different from society. How? You came to know. So there are two definitional perspectives of community. One is geographical area or the locality where there is a community, and the second our point is sentiment, the community sentiment, or the sense of the people living in that community, right? In the right hand corner, you are seeing that two kinds of communities are given. The community can be a large, a community can be small. The urban communities and the rural communities. In the rural area, there are a lot of communities, right? A lot of villages, and in the villages there are a lot of communities. You would say that the carpenter, the porter, different kind of communities, right? And in the urban areas as well, you will find that there are different kind of communities. The slum community, you know, so there are different kind of communities, right? In terms of sentiment, McMinnell and Chavis in 1986, they did research and found that there are 4 attributes of this kind of sentiment. First, it would be the membership. When you're living in a community, you should have some kind of membership feeling that you are a member of that community, right? Influence. Each of the members have some kind of, things that they can influence or be influenced by the community. Reinforcement, you are fulfilling your needs from this community, right? And shared emotional connections. When you see that some of the community people are suffering, your heart, melts and you come to support them, right? When you see there is enjoyment, you also participate. You participate in different kind of occasions, ceremonies, right? So there is emotion and share of this kind of emotion. Community is a social unit. Now we are talking about the community in general terms with different kind of divisional context. So a community is a social unit, a group of living things with commonalities such as norms, religions, values, customs, or identity. In terms of religion, in terms of values, you'd say different kind of communities. The Muslim communities, the Hindu communities, the Buddha communities, right? There are different kind of communities. In terms of religion. In terms of norms, you also find that different kind of norms exist in different societies, and you can say these are the communities. In values as well, customs as well, and or identity. Okay, and you can think of it, and maybe you can find this kind of example. A community can be defined in terms of Richard Schiffer again, a special or political unit of social organization that gives people a sense of belonging that we have already explained, based either on shared residence in a particular place or a common identity. Now, you say something different from the previous thoughts that we have already discussed or not elaborated yet. That is a common identity. So you are a member, say for example, in the right corner, you are saying that European Union. Now, there are different countries, but they become a common community. European Union, by their common, economic, structure, I would say that they have the same money, the currency that they're using, right? So in that sense, they have become a community. Now, elements of community, a group of people, locality, community sentiment, permanency, naturality, likeness, wider ends. This community people does not vanishes in a temporary manner, but it lasts for longer period. And they have wider ends. People are born, people become older, and people die in that community, right? In a physical community or in a virtual community, there could be some kind of virtual community, right? So it is based on the identity, how you identify yourself with that kind of community anyway. And the size of community could be large, could be small. It depends. One of the famous, I would say that one of the prominent thinkers in community is Ferdinand Tönnies. We have discussed about him in the first lecture and the second lecture and the other lectures as well, because his thoughts are very important in sociology. You are seeing this in his book that he had written this kind of book, Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft, who is again translated in English, Community and Society, Ferdinand Tönnies, right? He differentiated this community in 2 aspects. There's Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. Gemeinschaft means community and Gesellschaft means society. Now you see that what's the difference? Gemin shaped is rural, Gishel shaped is urban. It is small scales, and it is by conversely, it is large scale. Skin based means that is relatives. Skin means in Bengal term attiyo, অর্থাৎ আত্মীয় সম্পর্কের ভিত্তিতে. It is skin based and it is based on strangers because Giselle shaped maybe different kind of strangers come together for their own needs and they form a society. Okay, interdependence. There is much interdependence in a community than in society, but there is interdependence in interdependence and independence. You say that there is interdependence and independence. So although people are living in the society, but they have something to do there on their own. But in community, you say that there is kind of interdependence. Say, for example, in rural areas, among the peasants, they share their products. They are cultivating products or agricultural products with each other as a means of moral economy. They're serving each other, right? Those who don't have the bullock, they're giving bullocks, and those who do not have the carts or plow to plow the land, they're supporting each other, even by helping, giving physical labor in the lands sometimes, right? So you would find this kind of example if you see your society or your community. Anyway, so you'll find this kind of difference. I will not say all the difference over here because you're going to have this kind of slides in your video. So what about that association? You are a member of different kind of association. Some of you are a member of different kind of association, right? And actually, since we are living in society, in modern societies, we are members of different kind of associations. An association is a group of people organized for a particular purpose or a limited number of purposes. So you see, a group of people are organized to serve some kind of purpose, right? So it is association. What are the elements of an association? A group of people, first of all, this is important. Secondly, these people must be organized, and unorganized people cannot be said an association. You say that there is crowd, mob, or audience, but you can. They are association because they don't have a specific purpose or they are not organized, but they are gathered for their own interest, right? So an association must be organized. There must be certain rules for their conduct in the groups. Thirdly, they must have a common purpose of a specific nature to pursue. Examples, mosque. In a mosque, why do you go to the mosque? You go to the mosque for prayer, and this is the main task, right? And the mosque has some other responsibilities to guide the society, to guide the people to develop, boost up their moralities, not to indulge in themselves in some kind of bad activities, and that is not supported by the society or the Almighty Allah, right? Or even the church, or even the other, religious institutions that they are actually preaching this kind of, principles that don't hurt other people's feelings, don't disturb them. Please keep the peace in the society, okay? And also fulfill the requirements that is given by the God Almighty to satisfy His, commandments, right? And so that you will get some kind of return from Him. So this is a kind of example. Trade union, trade union, this kind, they have some kind of, common, purpose, and to fulfill this common purpose, they support each other, right? Few years ago, there was a ban of battery rickshaw. I would say it is in 2015. And I don't want to mention the name of the minister who actually supported this kind of battery rickshaw puller. They would say that if they support this them, then him actually or his party, then they will get the support. And the news came in the newspaper. Since I was doing a research on battery rickshaw, that's why I know this his person name actually. Then the union actually they did some kind of processions. Again, they get the support from the government to operate this kind of rickshaw for a time, right? And still you find that British is operating in different parts of the world, in different parts of the country. Anyway, then music clubs and other there you would find that other kind of association. I have given in the right hand corner at the end AOS, American Sociological Association. It is the association that pursue research, how sociological research should be promoted or expanded in different areas to address the new and old things of the society, to integrate the knowledge, to explain things, right? Anyway, now we find the different. What is the difference between this kind of things that I have explained here? What's the time? I have to check the time as well. Yeah, we have time. Association and community. What's the difference between them? What is association and what is community? What is the difference between them? You will find this kind of difference. Memberships, voluntary or involuntary. In a community, membership comes automatically, right? By birth, and it is compulsory because you are born in that community. Whether it could be a Bede community, whether it could be a rural community, whether it could be an urban community, but you are born there. So it comes automatically. So it is compulsory and it is by birth. Has some specific interests, we're talking about the association and the community. So you will find this kind of difference. The association have some kind of a specific interest and community have general interest. Then you will find some other differences. I would not explain all these differences because you're having to have this kind of, slide presentation as well. Groups. Let's discuss about the groups. And we see many groups and many places in many ways. And that's why it becomes an interest to the thinkers. And many thinkers actually, and not only in sociology, but also in anthropology, political science, and many other disciplines as well, they have given their thoughts. What is group? Even the politicians as well, they also explain what is group and how group is formed, what are the types of groups. In sociological term, I would say that a group can be defined a group is any number of people with similar norms and values and expectations who interact with one another on a regular basis. Again, it's a definition given by Richard T. Schaeffer in page number 119. You'll find that there are different kind of groups. And as I have mentioned, the sociologists or thinkers have given different kind of explanations for it. Now we're talking about the types of groups. Sumner, William Graham Sumner, he has defined or categorized groups in two forms, in-group and out-group. In-group or we group, that means a social group to which a person psychologically identifies as being a member, right? You are feeling that you are a member of that group. You should have this kind of feeling. And it could be then called in-group or we group. And the next category is out-group or other group, where an individual does not feel an identity, that he or she has some kind of identity in that group. Maybe you are participating in some kind of group activities, but you are not a member of that kind of group. Say, for example, I'm a member of Savolainen Osakunta. It's in Finland, and Savolainen Osakunta is a Savolainen. It's a place in that country, and they have their student union, right? And I'm a member of that student union, of that community, because as an international student, I have the flexibility to join in any of the student union. So I have become a member of that kind of Savolainen Osakunta. And they have their programs. And sometimes this Savolainen Osakunta also interacts with some other students' union. So when we go to visit that kind of student organization or that kind of group, we also participate in their activities when and where it is necessary, but we do not belong that kind of group, right? Because we have our own identity that we are Sabolainan Sakonta part members and we're participating in other groups activities, right? So then it could be called other group, our out group. Again, Sanderson in 1938, he has found three types of groups. He's talking about the involuntary groups, which is based on kinship, or you would say that relative based on relations, say for example, your family. Secondly, voluntary group, one to which a man joins of his own volition, that means willingness, own willingness, he's joining in some kind of groups and is free to withdraw his membership at any time, right? Say for example, I was a member of Bangladesh Sociological Association when I was before 2015, because I was an active member of that groups, and I was participating in that their activities. But when I left the country for my higher studies in Finland, then I was not able to continue my membership and was unable to participate because I had a lot of responsibilities in my doctoral studies. So I had to squeeze my work and mainly focus on only my doctoral studies. So you came to know this kind of example. So it was voluntary, right? Then third number is delegate, one to which a man joins as a representative of a number of people either elected by them or nominated by some power. You would say that parliament. In the parliament, the members come from different localities as a representative. Sorry, any problem? Sorry. Let me stop the microphone. Everybody, please mute your microphone. Please mute it. Yeah. Okay. I was sharing my screen. Let me share it again. Yeah. So, yeah, I was talking about groups actually. So you see that on online, because our connection is not good, and some of the students face, and some of the participants, I would say, that face this kind of problem, and I also face this kind of problem sometimes ago. So it happened, and it's normal. So don't bother about it. Anyway, so Sanderson was talking. We are talking about Sanderson, and there are three types of groups. He said that involuntary, voluntary, and delegate. Now we're talking about L-205, 1925. You see their pictures and their contributions, right? Which actually text or where they actually publish this kind of work. Anyway, so involuntary, voluntary. We have already discussed what is involuntary or involuntary. Now there are also some students still coming. Maybe let me check the number. Yes. Okay. So formal and institutional or formal, and non-institutional or informal. Formal, it could be most school. Again, you can see that some of the examples are given before, and since they're based on their different kind of purpose and activities, they are also termed in different areas. They could be groups, they could be association, but you have to identify how. And for that purpose, for that reason, you need to know the definitions and the key attributes or features of specific groups or association or community. Do you have any questions? Okay, let me finish first this section. So voluntary and involuntary, formal and non-formal, or institutional, non-institutional groups. What about the next slide? Yes. And it is about guidance. Yes. The screen sharing has stopped as the window is closed. Okay, let me share the screen again while it is happening. Yeah. So Giddings has categorized the groups in different respects actually, so that it could be genetic or congregate. Genetics means the reproductions that is coming from generation to generation in different manners. So for example, family. And congregate. Congregate is seminar or symposium or a mass procession where a group of people come to for any specific purpose, and it is transient. It is very transient and for any specific time, right? He has also categorized the groups as disjunctive, one which does not allow a person to be a member of other groups at the same time. Now, let me give an example. In Finland, actually, when I was doing my doctoral research, first of all, I got a fund from Academy of Finland. Then I also applied for another fund, and it is a Finnish government fund. And I got that fund. When I got that fund, my Academy of Finland's fund stopped. Because it is the rule that when you get one kind of fund, you cannot take other fund. Or if you are taking another kind of fund, the previous fund would be stopped. And I took that fund because that fund was very handsome money. And at the time, I need that money because the living expense is quite high in Finland. Say for example, in a two-flat room, you have to spend like 1,000 or 11,000. 1,100 euros per month as a house rent. So it is quite high. And there's living expenditure as well, your travel, food, and anything else. So I had to apply for that kind of fund because I was living with my family. Then my money became, balanced, and I was well enough to survive myself in Finland. So you see that you can be a member of, when you become a member of some kind of group, having some kind of specific purpose, you cannot be a member of other group, which is defined as disjunctive group by Giddings in 1896. He also defined another group that is called overlapping group. One can be a member to another group as well. Because, say for instance, I'm a member of Faculty of Social Sciences at the University of Helsinki, Finland. Then I did some kind of research at this and contribute some things, and then I got another affiliation. That is, I'm also a member of HELSAS. It's Helsinki Sustainability Research Group, actually. So I got this two kind of affiliations, and there is no restriction that if I become a member of that one kind of group, I cannot be a member of another kind of group, right? Anyway. So this is how Giddings defined and categorized. And you are seeing his pictures. You are seeing his picture. Let me check. Yes, you're seeing it in the right-hand corner. Anyway, P.S. Sorokin, 1927, American sociologist who categorized group in two ways, vertical and horizontal. Vertical groups includes persons of different strata or status. Say, for example, in a nation, you will find different kind of people from different status group, right? Then horizontal includes persons. Some of the participants are decreasing. I see now 118. And at the time of attendance, it was 123. So who are absent now, they will get some kind of punishment. Punishment in terms that they have left the group or have some kind of problems if I don't see them at the end of my lecture. Because they had to inform me first that this kind of problem they're having or for what purpose they have to leave the lecture. Without informing me, you are not supposed to leave the lecture, right? because you are not helping yourself. Anyway, so we're talking about Petrim Sorokin. Anyway, and the horizontal groups include some persons of the same status or class, right? Includes persons of the same status or class. Now, okay, let me finish these two things as well. Hansen, he has categorized group as unsocial. You know what is unsocial, so I have not explained. Pseudo-social means participants in a larger group. Unsocial, let me explain actually, who only serves their own interest and do not participate, and sorry, does not participate in the larger interest of the society, but they also don't go against the interest of the larger society. Pseudo-social, who participate, seek their own interest, but also participate in the social activities, but they don't directly do works for the society, for others. Antisocial, who acts against the norms and values or interests of the society. And prosocial. Prosocial actually do the good for the society. You will find that among you, there are very, very generous students who are very much responsible for their society. When you see that there is flood in the country and you see that a lot of people are suffering from this kind of inundation, they are suffering from their food, shelter, or many other things, your heart become, very upset, and you try to help them as best as possible. You collect money for them, you collect clothes for them, you go to that locality and help them and do some kind of other relief works. Or in other places, you also do this kind of, even in corona situation, when this kind of pandemic occurred, you deliver the masks and hand sanitizer to the mess people. You try to help them from your own capacity, right? So this kind of activities, this kind of group can be called as pro-social group when they do this kind of work in a group, right? Park and Burgess, 1921, they have categorized groups in two ways. One, territorial, maybe it could be community state that have some kind of territory, and non-territorial, it could be social class, caste, etc. A social class exists in different societies, right? Exist in different societies, but you cannot define them in terms of territory. Maybe there are upper class, lower upper class, middle class, lower middle class, lower class, pauperized people in different societies, and they are not restricted to any specific area, any specific city. In Dhaka city as well, you'll find the richest people and the poorest people, right? So you cannot define them in terms of territory. Caste, caste, Pornoprotha, So in different respects, although the caste system is applied to Islam, but in religion term, in accurate original religion term, we don't have any kind of caste. It is created by some bad people actually, who have misinterpreted Islam and misleaded this kind of lot of people. In Islam, you don't say that there are different any kind of groups, any kind of caste. Only one group, that is Muslim. He could be a black, he could be a white, he could be pauper, he could be the race, he could be the statesman, he could be the a farmer, no matter. But Muslim is his own identity. He has to follow the religious work, right? So, but the caste is attributed like Shia, Sunni, or in Bangladesh what is happening. So it is done by some kind of people who has done this kind of mistakes. But this kind of mistake should not be done. So since you are educated people, you must know your religion, so that you will be free from this kind of behavioral activities, right? Anyway, in Hinduism you will find there are different kind of caste. There are Brahmin, the Buddha, Katra, Vaishya, Shudra, so Haryana. Sorry, not Haryana, not Horiyan. So you will find different kind of groups and different kind of castes. So this is how the groups are defined. One of the main thinkers in this kind of thoughts to define or categorize group is Charles Horton Cooley. That's why a specific slide skipped for him. What's the time now? Yes. Well, we will continue the next lecture. This session and other session. Now, do you have any kind of questions? I see now 120 participants. Let me take the screenshot so that I can identify who are attending or not attending. I take all these things. Yeah, again. First of all, participants here. 120 participants. Select all. So those who attended in the first, 3 of them has already left. They have to inform me why. Anyway. So sorry, walaikum assalam.
আচ্ছা স্যার অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্রথম দিকে আমরা অ্যাটেন্ড থাকতে পারলেও লাস্টের দিকে আমাদের কারেন্ট চলে গেলে তখন স্যার অ্যাটেন্ডটা থাকা যায় না।
আচ্ছা, they have to inform me that why did kind of problem happen, right?
ওকে স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, তার তোমাকে আমাকে বলতে হবে যে কারণ আমার হচ্ছে রেসপন্সিবিলিটি তোমাদেরকে মেসেজটা পৌঁছে দেওয়া। আর তোমরা যদি এখন মিস করে ফেলো then you are missing the things that you are supposed to know. টেকনিক্যাল প্রবলেমস আমি অলরেডি অ্যাড্রেস করেছি।
স্যার এটা কি স্যার মেল করে পাঠাবো?
সরি, আমাকে মেল করবে যে 3 জন অ্যাবসেন্ট ছিলে, সে 3 জন কেন ছিল, 3 জনে কি প্রবলেম পড়েছিল কিনা। এনিওয়ে, সো আজকের মতো এখানে ডু হ্যাভ এনি আদার কোশ্চেনস?
স্যার এটা কোন চ্যাপ্টার থেকে আজকের টপিকটা?
আমরা পড়লাম বেসিক কনসেপ্টস অফ সোশিওলজি।
ওকে স্যার।
এটা আমরা শুরুতেই বলেছি যে আমরা কি আলোচনা করছি। Since our medium instruction is in English, so I would try to do this kind of practice sometimes so that you are become used to have this kind of lectures. সেই জন্য আমি আজকে চিন্তা ভাবনা করেছিলাম যে আজকে এভাবেই বলি আর কি। তোমাদের কি কোনো বুঝতে কষ্ট হয়েছে? তোমাদের আজকে লেকচার কি বুঝতে কোনো কষ্ট হয়েছে?
নো স্যার।
ওকে, তাহলে আজকের মতো এখানেই। আর তোমরা তাড়াতাড়ি গ্রুপ ফর্ম করে ফেলো এবং টপিক ঠিক করে ফেলো। নেক্সট উইক নেক্সট ক্লাসে তোমাদের প্রত্যেকেই আমাকে ক্লাসের আগেই আমার মেইলে টপিকস পাঠিয়ে দিবে। যারা গ্রুপ করেছো গ্রুপ করেই 3 জনের নাম হলে 3 জনের নাম দিয়েই পাঠাবে, যারা করো নাই তারা হচ্ছে ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালি হোক তারা পাঠিয়ে দিবে, ঠিক আছে?
স্যার অনলি টপিকস এর নাম,
হ্যাঁ রিসার্চ টপিকস এর নাম এবং তৃতীয় ক্লাসের আগে তোমরা হচ্ছে কি যে অবজেক্টিভস নিয়ে কাজ করবে সেই অবজেক্টিভসটাও ঠিক করে ফেলবে যে ওই রিসার্চ টপিকসের আন্ডারে তুমি কি কি দেখতে চাও। তো হচ্ছে সেটা যদি তুমি প্রথমেই উল্লেখ করতে পারো তো তোমার কাজটা অলরেডি অ্যাডভান্স হয়ে গেল, রাইট? ঠিক আছে, আজকের মতো এখানেই।
স্যার রিসার্চ পেপার জমা দেব কবে?
রিসার্চ পেপারের আমি তোমাদেরকে ডেট বলে দেবো। তোমাদেরকে 2 সপ্তাহ সময় দেওয়া হবে। সেই 2 সপ্তাহের মধ্যে তোমরা হচ্ছিল ফিল্ড ওয়ার্ক যেটা করতে হয় সেটা করে ফেলবে। কোশ্চেনার তৈরি করার দরকার, সেটার জন্য আমি এক্সট্রা সময় দেবো। দেওয়ার পরে তোমার ফিল্ড ওয়ার্ক বা রিসার্চটা কমপ্লিট করার জন্য 2 সপ্তাহ সময় থাকবে। আর তোমাদের একটা প্লাস পয়েন্ট আছে যে তোমাদের এবি সেকশন দুটাকে আমি একসঙ্গে নিচ্ছি, সেহেতু তোমরা অনেক সময় এক্সট্রা পেয়ে যাচ্ছ। অর্থাৎ তোমাদের 4টা করে ক্লাস হওয়ার কথা ছিল, সেখানে তোমাদের সবার সুবিধার্থে আমরা 2টা করে ক্লাসের মধ্যে সেটা কভার করতে পারছি জুমের সুবাদে, রাইট? সো ইউ আর গেটিং লটস অফ টাইম, এক্সট্রা টাইম অ্যাজ ওয়েল। সো ইউটিলাইজ দিস টাইম।
স্যার একটা কোশ্চেন
বলো।
স্যার এই যে রিসার্চটা কি সিভিল ডিপার্টমেন্টের থেকে মানে সিভিল ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং এর অ্যাসপেক্ট থেকে নাকি?
হ্যাঁ, সিভিল ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং অ্যাসপেক্ট থেকে তুমি করতে পারো যদি সেটা সোশিওলজিক্যাল লিঙ্কেজটা তুমি দেখাইতে পারো। হ্যাঁ, তুমি সিভিল ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং ডিপার্টমেন্ট থেকে তুমি একটা হচ্ছে নকশা করতেছো বা হচ্ছে কোনো একটা বিল্ডিং তৈরি করতেছো বা কিছু একটা কাজ করতেছো, সেই কাজের ক্ষেত্রে হোয়াট ইজ দ্য পিপল ইন্টারাকশন and what is the behavioral pattern and what kind of problem could be arised. So তুমি এটাকে আইডেন্টিফাই করে
আমি যে রিসার্চটা স্যার করব সেটার সোশ্যাল ইমপ্যাক্টটা কি হবে সেটা নিয়েও কিছু বলতে হবে আর কি স্যার, তাই না?
সেটাই তো তোমাকে আমি, যেহেতু আমি সোশিওলজির আন্ডারে রিসার্চটা করাচ্ছি, তাই না? সোশিওলজির আন্ডারে রিসার্চটা হচ্ছে তুমি তোমার ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং ফিল্ড যে ফিল্ডেই কাজ করো সেই ফিল্ডের অবশ্যই যে বিষয়গুলো নিয়ে কাজ করো সেটা সোশিওলজিক্যাল বা বিহেভিয়ারাল বা ইন্টারাকশনাল বিষয় আছে বা মার্কেট ওরিয়েন্টেশনটা আছে, রাইট? সেটার অ্যাসপেক্টস গুলো নিয়ে তুমি গবেষণা করবা।
স্যার আর স্যার এমনি স্যার যদি একটা জেনারেলি স্যার একটা সোশ্যাল টপিক নিয়ে হয় স্যার ওইভাবে করা যাবে?
জেনারেল সোশ্যাল টপিকস নিয়ে কাজ করলে হবে, সেটা তো you are welcome, but since you are an engineering student and you are going to contribute to society in terms of engineering knowledge, right?
Yes,
So এটা নিয়ে করলে আরো একটু ভালো হবে। তাহলে তুমি কিভাবে ওটাকে আসলে সোশিওলজিক্যালি তুমি দেখতে পাও, তাতে করে তোমার কোর্সের পড়াটা সমৃদ্ধ হলো এবং তোমার নলেজটাকে আরো তুমি ডেজিগনেট করতে পারবে ইন ফিউচার। সেজন্য আমি এই দিকটাই বেশি এমফেসিস করছি।
Thank you, sir.
You are most welcome. Any other questions? If not, then it's all for today. So have a nice day. Allah Hafiz.